How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to another episode of The Banker Next Door. I am your host, Dr. Joe Berquist. Today, I wanted to talk to everyone a little bit about AI and basically, can AI help a community bank? So, I wanted to bring in, I saw this great article this week that I wanted to bring in. So, this is an article from Bank Director, and this is called How Community Banks Can Use AI to Address Staffing Constraints. And this was written by Mark Vanderpool, who's the founder and president of a company called DirectLink. So as we cruise down the article here, I'm just going to read this. The goal of AI adoption is not about replacing jobs. It's about bolstering the human element of customer service in community banks. In today's regional job markets, finding, training, and retaining qualified staff is one of community banks' most significant challenges. In this regard, AI can be an ally, helping address unmet customer demand by handling routine inquiries and tasks like fetching balances, transaction histories, or bill payments. This augmented automation allows employees to focus on more complex issues that require a personal touch or critical thinking. So that all very good points right there. I mean, obviously finding talent and then training that talent and retaining that talent is one of the key challenges for regional banks. But I mean, in theory, though, that's a primary challenge for all banks in this country, as well as all businesses in general in this country. I mean, that's always one of your top one or two issues year in and year out. But again, we'll keep rolling here. So here are some of the key areas where banks can leverage AI to the maximum benefit. So number one is customer expectations. In the digital age, customers expect 24/7 availability. AI can provide after-hours service, answering basic questions and performing simple transactions to help ensure that customer needs are met in a timely fashion. Number two, resource optimization. AI can handle high volumes of routine tasks with consistent accuracy, allowing human employees to concentrate on areas that generate more value for the bank and its customers. Number three, job satisfaction. Removing monotonous tasks from staff workloads can allow employees to engage in more rewarding work, improving job satisfaction and reducing turnover. Scalability. Number four, scalability. AI systems can be scaled to handle increased demand without the need for proportional increases in staff, something that can be particularly beneficial for community banks with limited resources. And number five, risk management. AI can help identify and mitigate risks by analyzing patterns that may be indicative of fraudulent activity. So, when contemplating the adoption of AI, senior leadership should prioritize these considerations: human AI collaboration, training and development, and regulatory compliance. And then he kind of wraps up by saying, implementing AI is not about choosing technology over people. It's about integrating technology into the workforce to create a more dynamic, efficient, and customer-centric banking environment. Not untrue, but but now that I went through that, I'm going to play kind of devil's advocate here for a minute. So let's talk about some of the things that he's really mentioning here. What he's talking about is chatbots. He's talking about what I would refer to as reg tech, regulation technology. In other words, banks have a lot of back office stuff that they have to do around what's called BSA, Bank Secrecy Act, AML, anti-money laundering. That really gets in with filing a lot of what's called the SAR reports, suspicious activity reports, the CTRs, the currency transaction reports. Banks have to file a lot of those reports continuously. And so there's a lot of companies out there that are coming up with kind of these different systems that can help banks to basically, kind of generate those reports, go through that stuff a lot, make it more streamlined, more efficient, faster. And like you said, to the article's point, and that is like, let's take some of the monotonous work away from employees and just have them focus on the more important stuff. So this stuff is all great, but I would put a giant but in there, and this is where the devil's advocate comes in. So this stuff is really expensive to implement. You've got to have the right employees with the right tech talent in place to integrate all of these systems, get everything up and running, keep it running. What I find kind of funny is that, banks operate, your average bank operates a lot of technology today. I mean, they got a website, they got mobile apps, they've got a whole lot of back end technology running through the bank. And and it takes a lot of manpower, a lot of time, a lot of money just to keep those things running. And now you want to kind of put this whole AI interface over, I'll call it an overlay, is kind of this is the AI over, interface overlay over top of all of that existing infrastructure in your technology area of the bank. What does that do to the bank in terms of the amount, again, of manpower, money, responsibility? And I will tell you that, again, I think that to say that if and again, in a perfect world, let's say this does work. Okay. You implement this thing, creates a whole ton of new efficiencies in the bank. That's great. The reality is that some people in that case, some people are going to lose their jobs. Some of the front end retail people that, they would go away, and you would be less with less jobs, because a lot of those monotonous tasks, a lot of those everyday things that go on in running a bank day in and day out would go away. So I think the reality here is that, yeah, some people would lose their jobs, but I would also say that technology works until it doesn't work, and then all of a sudden, so in other words, it's working great, everything's going well, and then all of a sudden you have some kind of natural disaster in your area. You have some kind of giant flooding event, you have an earthquake, you have a tornado, you have something, and then boom, and all that technology is down. And now you need all those people on hand to do all those monotonous tasks, and you can't just train them. You can't just grab people off the street and just train them in a hot minute in a crisis situation and have them back up and running. So I think there's a very delicate balance there in terms of what we're doing, what we're not doing. I will also say this, I've spent time, like a lot of people have, in messing around with OpenAI, Chat GPT, Grok, some of these different AIs that are out there, and it is cool. It is fascinating what they can do. But I also think a lot of this stuff, at least right this moment, is overhyped. I don't think everybody's losing their jobs tomorrow because OpenAI can write a term paper in a minute and a half. I do think it will change the way that we work and we do our jobs and we do a lot of things, particularly in the next 5 years. I do think as AI becomes more integrated, a lot of I see Adobe, I see Microsoft, I see all these like when I mean like Microsoft, like Office, all these everybody's like kind of integrating their AI into their systems. So that is going to change the way that kind of people work on projects, work on a lot of different things. So it's going to lead to a change of how things are going. Where this ultimately goes long term, I don't know. I'm not really sure how that all plays out over time. But again, I thought this was interesting, and I just wanted to take a look. And I also want to tell everybody that I want to get into, in the coming months, I want to get into more of the technology area of banks and different things that are going on. Like one of the things, I don't know if anybody had a chance to go look at some of the interviews I did. Omar Jordan, who's the CEO of Coviance. I did Kent Kirby, who works for Abrigo, a couple of technology companies that provide loan automation software and services to community banks and credit unions around the U.S. I would highly recommend those interviews to everybody. Go back and take a look at those episodes. But I do want to get into not just the technology itself, but also the idea of project management. How do you manage these IT projects? How do you bring them through fruition? And to that end, there was a great book here I want to show everybody. This is called Rewired, and this is McKinsey's Guide to Outcompeting in the Age of Digital and AI. And this whole book is basically about project management and basically how you take, all these complicated tech projects from start to finish. And I've been looking at this book for the last couple months now, and it's a really great book. I would highly recommend anybody that's in the IT world and banking, you should have a copy of this book and you should read it and go through it, because I think there's a tremendous amount of great stuff in there. But so definitely, I definitely want to talk more about the whole AI subject and technology in general and what that means to banks and how banks basically, especially particularly a lot of community banks that aren't that big, like how are they going to deal with all of this this technology that is forever evolving and changing. over the next couple of years in particular. So, but again, hope everybody liked this video. Please make sure to like and subscribe and share. That always helps the channel. Keep an eye out. I've got a bunch of other videos coming out today with some different things I'll be working on. I got another weekly banking update coming, doing a regulatory update, doing a couple interesting things on what else we got here. We got going to be talking about treasuries, going to be talking about the troubles in regional banks right now. So hopefully everybody will come back and check out some of those episodes, and I hope to see everybody again real soon. Thanks a lot.